What's going on, y'all? I wanted to talk about a recent observation of mine from an article. Can't remember exactly what article it was off the top of my head. I'm driving right now, so can't really find it. But I'll definitely post the article you'll see it on the screen. But this particular article, it's a NFL uniform ranking. Now, as you see from the title, this has something to do with the Kansas City Chiefs. Always been into sports. I love sports so much, not so much to where it blinds me. I'm a fan, but not a fanatic, even though fan is short for a fanatic. Never been in that sense. I just love the enjoyment. I love it for what it is. It's, it's entertainment. And I engage it like that. Been watching the Chiefs for a very, very long time. Been watching it in the NFL since about '93. First Super Bowl I saw was actually, as far as I remember back watching football, the Cowboys and the Bills. The second go round with James Washington and whatnot. And they trounced the Bills. The Bills lost their fourth straight Super Bowl. Tragic. But I've been watching it for a while. I'm from Kansas City. Despite me being from Kansas City, I'm an Oakland Raiders fan. Well, Las Vegas Raiders now. Did that because I love their uniforms. Love their uniforms. They've always, NWA and everything. I'm a big, huge hip hop head, and so the Oakland Raiders have been heavily ingrained with their hip hop culture. The clothing and the style. So that's one of the main reasons. Then I love the gritty nature of their old school teams, despite their recent success or lack of, so to say, in recent times. But even through it all, I still remain loyal. I just love it for I did it because, being from Kansas City, you're always going to have a bunch of backlash. And I've always liked being in the underdog role and, having the crowd go against me. So I love the reactions, if we beat them, be able to talk trash to a good population of people. But then, of course, and what's been the case in, like I said, recent years, we've been losing a lot to them. So I got to hear it a lot. Now, I'm not in Kansas City currently. I've been living in Dallas for the last 5 years, but, I still hear it. I still get the phone calls, and, of course, that's where I was the first 26 years of my life. So I've been there. I've seen all the ups and downs. I've watched all the, the playoff losses of the Chiefs, to the Colts. I was there for the Lynn Elliott miss. What was that debacle against Peyton Manning in 03 when the Chiefs had the best offense, but man, they neither side could stop each other in that playoff game. And Colts ended up winning by 7 points. Remember the Andrew Luck game. Some of the matches in between that. Remember the loss to the Steelers, the Broncos loss. Like I've seen it all with this Kansas City team. And I've seen I was here to witness their win also, their success. They finally won a Super Bowl for, the first time in what I believe 60 years or so, 60, 50 years, something like that, since 1969 when they beat the Vikings. So, I'm proud of them, despite, I'm a Raiders fan, and, I'm going to talk about trash, and I'm going to laugh when they're down, but, I'm going to congratulate them when they're up, because like I said, it's all fun at the end of the day. But so I'm looking on this, let's get back on topic. I'm sitting there looking at this article, and I've I've been following Paul Lukas for a while. He's the author of this article. Now, it's for another site, but Paul Lukas has his own site, UniWatch, where it basically breaks down the different NFL uniforms, different uniform changes, the history of uniforms, different things. I like things like that. I've always liked that type of thing because the different colors, the different alternate uniforms and different things like that, and the combinations on the field when you watch the teams go against each other. Uniforms play an intricate part into the allure of sports, because of it just looks good out there. So I've always liked that type of thing. So I've been following UniWatch for a while. I'm looking at this list. Of course, as with many lists that you'll see, the Raiders are number one on the list. I think a lot of people can agree they have one of the best uniform sets in the NFL. So you'll find them at the top of many different lists. Like I said, that's part of the reason why I like the Raiders, because of their whole entire look. A lot of the teams that rounded out the top spots on this list were, a lot of the classic teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Packers. I think the Packers were at number 2. The Los Angeles Chargers, were at number 3. I'm trying to remember. It's off the top of my head. I just remembered. Have I been calling them the Oakland Raiders? Let me know in the comment section. I think I've been calling them the Oakland Raiders. Of course, they're the Las Vegas Raiders now. Just had to make that clarification because I tend to forget. That San Diego slip just reminded me. But yeah, no, it's a lot of the classic teams. The Indianapolis Colts, different teams like that. Whereas, you see, Nike started making the attire for the NFL probably a few years back, and so they've been handling everything, and they changed up the designs of many teams. So you saw teams like the Seahawks, the Tennessee Titans just recently. I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had changed theirs. They just went back to their more their classic look, not the creamsicles, which I think we would all love to see back, but the ones from their Super Bowl years, they went back to that kind of look. I know the Browns went back, but nonetheless, a lot of the modern jerseys that Nike changed, like I said, the Seahawks, Titans. What's another team? Can't think of them off the top of my head, but those got lower on the list. Those went lower on the list, and then at the very bottom, saw the Atlanta Falcons at 31 and the Arizona Cardinals at 32. The Falcons just got some new uniforms, which I think are hideous. They've been making that Adam Sandler movie. Said they look like that football team from the what's that movie where he was sitting in prison and they playing with Nelly, and I think The Rock was in it. I know Stone Cold Steve Austin and all those guys were in it. Said those uniforms look like that. And then, of course, the Arizona Cardinals, I think they just need to go back to their classic look also, because I haven't been a fan of the uniforms they've had for the past decade or so. I do like those black alternates. But I'm going through and I'm noticing something different. Now, in most lists that I've looked through the years, I have always seen the Kansas City Chiefs at somewhere high on the list, usually in the top 10. They have a very classic look, and I've always been a fan of their uniforms. Red is my favorite color anyway. I've always been a fan of the Chiefs, just their whole setup, Arrowhead, everything, the fans, just that whole sea of red. I love it. I love their uniforms, and I love the updates that Nike made to their uniforms when they took over about 2012, 2013. So it just made their uniforms look that much better. But I'm looking through and I'm like, I'm getting all the way down to 20, and I'm like, man, I don't see the Chiefs anywhere. It's interesting. Keep scrolling down, keep scrolling down. That's like I told you. The Falcons were 31, the Cardinals 32. Tell me why the hell they had the Kansas City Chiefs at number 30. Number 30. Amazing, huh? Amazing, huh? There's a lot of teams the Chiefs have better uniforms than. I mean, man, they definitely deserve to be in the top 10. I think we can all agree. But, you know, Paul Lukas in this article gives a summary of why he believes each team should be placed where they're at. And his reason for this is mind-blowing. So as you know, the Washington Redskins, or the Washington football team now, formerly known as the Washington Redskins, they had to change their name, right? Because, you know, it's been they've been fighting that. The term Redskins was looked at as a derogatory term by many Native American groups, and they've been fighting that for a while. Dan Snyder, the Redskins, or the Washington football team's owner, fought against it. He said back in 2013 he would never change the name. He would never change the name, but you know, with the recent protests and everything that's been going on with social justice and everything, and it's gotten the attention of many large corporations. You know, they basically had no choice but to change now. Once, you know, you had FedEx, who's the sponsor of the field, what's a major sponsor of the team, but not only FedEx, but Walmart, Nike, they threatened not to sell their merchandise. You know, Dan Snyder had no choice but to change the team name. So that's that. And, you know, Washington has a whole bunch of problems going on with that organization, but we're not going to get into all that. You know, Dan Snyder's a fucking nut job. Well, you know, we're not going to get into all of that. I just wanted to give the relation to the topic that I'm talking about, to show you where we're headed. So Paul Lukas has the Kansas City Chiefs at number 30. Why is that, you say? Because it lies within the name itself, the Kansas City Chiefs, which is another alludes to the Native Americans. Now, why did we say that, and why was the reason given that the Redskins was removed from the name Washington? For obvious reason, because, you know, they're not red. It's derogatory. They're not red. You know, they're got more of a brownish color. You know, just like, you know, black people aren't really black. They're brown. But, you know, that whole construct is, you know, it's a man-made construct it's a man-made construct. It's not accurate at all, you know, and it, you know, usually bunches people in, and, you know, the term black itself is bunched a bunch of people in, where, you know, you can't even recognize somebody for their nationality. You know, you just throw everybody in a big pot, black. And, you know, that makes different things, you know, getting different things done. Whereas, you know, as far as, you know, in the courts and different things, makes it tough. But, you know, that's a whole nother video. But you understand what I'm saying. These people are not red. So if they find it derogatory, who are you to say that, you know, they shouldn't be offended? So you got to agree with that. But the discussion that came up, and I saw it before, were teams like the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, of course, and then in baseball, the Cleveland Indians and the Atlanta Braves. It's just ridiculous where we went with this whole cancel culture, to where we're lacking complete, I can't even say common sense, because, you know, it seems like the common sense is just, you know, over emotionalism. That's even a fucking word. Everybody's over, you know, they overthinking everything. Instead of, you know, actually thinking about what we're saying. Instead of actually thinking about what we're saying and, being very pinpointed, understanding what we're fighting against. That's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's taking the whole cancel culture, that's taking it to a whole nother level. And that's where we're at as a society right now. I mean, think of it. You're talking about the word Redskin versus the words Braves. What do we usually think about when we think of the word brave? The Braves. A chief. What else? There's other, Indians. I mean, that's just pretty much self-explanatory. But I mean, Indians. What is derogatory about any of those terms? If anything, it's terms of power, especially when you're talking about chief or brave. It's not Redskin. It's not something that's done in an inaccurate way. Now, if you want to say Indians is inaccurate, okay, that's another discussion, but that's not being said in a derogatory term. It's not, denoting a physical feature or, something of that kind. We're going too far. You got to think about that. You're thinking about a team that has so much history. And like I said, I'm a Raiders fan. I in no way want to see the Chiefs not be the Chiefs. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. I got history with the team. I've watched them for 20 years, man. It's they're one of the originals, especially as on the AFC. They started off when it was the AFL. Lamar Hunt, the person that founded the Chiefs. It goes back as far as that. He founded the whole AFL, which eventually became the AFC when they joined it, the AFL and the NFL, and they had their championship at the end of the season where the AFL's best take on the NFL's best, and eventually became the NFC and the AFC, and they molded to both become the NFL. But that was Lamar Hunt that started the AFL. Now his means of getting it, that's a whole nother story. But that's something else that has nothing to do with the name or nickname. You want to start getting into the history of his father and what his father was mixed into. That's a whole nother story right there. But I mean, come on, man, the Chiefs. That's always been said in the, an uplifting term. You're the chief, boss man. That's big time. That's, that's what more can I say, man? It's just not the same thing. So, like I said, man, back to Paul Lukas. I love what he does. I've loved what he's done for years. I've always followed UniWatch, but we got to get out of the whole cancel culture and being oversensitive about everything and not using our brains. Before we opened our mouths and just being quick to just hop on a whole entire wave, because that's all this is. That's all this is. It doesn't hold any, it doesn't hold any weight. You're ready to team like the Chiefs. I ain't got nothing else to say, man. If you got your thoughts on this, man, leave it in the comment section. I just wanted to give my views on this, because I just, like I said, we're headed in a weird direction. People aren't using their brains. They're not using, they're not using their brains. Oh man, shit to give you a headache, man. But like I said, hit the subscribe button if you like. If you like it, hit the like. If you don't like it, hit the dislike. But help engage, man. I'm new to this, and I'm gonna give you some more. I'm gonna keep giving y'all some more stuff, man, and it's only gonna get better from here, man. Until then, I'll see you next time. All right.